Jó napot kívánok! Bár a nevemből nem derül ki, de beszélek magyarul, és komolyan fontolgattam, hogy magyarul tartsa meg a prezentációmat, és bár önök számára biztos sokkal szórakoztatóbb lenne magyarul, mert pontosan tudom, hogy a feleségem is nagyon sokat szokott röhögni rajtam néha, de úgy döntöttem, hogy mégis angolul legyen a prezentáció, ugye, mert az anyagnak úgyis angolul van az anyag, mert a szakifejezéseknek a fele úgyis angolul van, úgyhogy gondolom, így megyünk. Na most, ugye én egy kicsit, sorry, it's gonna be, I have a feeling it's gonna be a little bit boring because I've been sitting in some presentation and the last today and yesterday, and most of the things I'm going to say today were already said. You know, everyone is talking about the same things. In a way, I'm really happy about that, because when we started as a vendor talking about all these things, you know, we were pretty much alone, and now the whole industry is talking about the same thing, which is for us as a vendor a very good thing, because it shows we are on the right way, we're doing the right thing. And but you know, I feel, I don't know if you know, there is this cartoon called Dilbert. It's a guy sitting in a small cubicle, and you know, there is something he calls masters of obvious, which is people who say very obvious things like we need to increase the production and reduce cost. Yeah, really. So I'm gonna feel a little bit like that, because a lot of things were said, but. You know, when we talk about security today, and we are pretty much all aware that the traditional security is not enough, right? Because, you know, breaches happen every day, whatever we do is not enough. And the statistics said, depends who you look at, but statistics said that there is usually a few hundred days between you realize, between someone breaches into your systems and the time you realize that, right? Where when they breach into your systems, why they came from, they usually do it in a matter of days. So we have a huge gap between how much it takes us to realize that something happened and between what happened. So it gives people a lot of time to do what they want to do. And the problem is that nowadays the hackers, and you know that it's all been said, one of the most important things for them is to delete traces. So we are faced with that system. The second thing is that, you know, everyone agrees. I've been sitting in presentations here, not all of them, but those that are kind of interest in a similar subject. SIEM is not enough, you know. Log management as such is not enough. I mean, I don't want to repeat what's said here, but, you know, everyone talks about it. Yeah, we all have it. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good thing to have. And, you know, I would never say don't have it, because it does protect and prevent a lot of things from happening. And if we wouldn't have a SIEM systems in place, it would be, this statistics would be like tenfold worse. But it's still not enough. It's still happening, they're still getting in, so we need to do something about it, right? Gartner agrees with that, because, you know, this is their evolution of what, you know, of SIEM and security analytics, and they say, yeah, this is good, what you need to have, you have to have. But at the end, we should all be looking into going into the direction of what's now in the industry called security analytics. You know, the presentation has a title, Power to the Analyst, and actually it was not, I didn't invent that, I found it on a blog. And there was guy saying when RSA came out with the security analytics product, he said like, oh, finally. Because, you know, if you don't have tools that security analysts can use to really, because at the end, there's a lot of correlations, a lot of things is automated, a lot of things can be detected and prevented automatically, but there is still this thing up here, the human brain is still needed to do the job, you know. If you're in a large company, large organization, even a small one, don't underestimate small companies. If you look at the statistics, the largest number of the very own statistics for 2012, they say that the largest number of attacks actually happens to companies under 100 employees. So it's not, and if you're a small company, don't say, oh, I'm safe, no one wants what I have. It's not true. Forrester also talks about, that SIM is not enough. We have to go further. So you do SIM, you have to have it. It's a must in a way, because without it you cannot go any further. And we are also a SIM vendor. We have one of the most popular products on the market. It's you envision, you're very aware of it, I believe. But we have to go on. We cannot stop there. We cannot. We have to have something else. So. Again, this is one of those master of hobbies. Everyone's talking about big data. Everyone, But it is a big data problem. Because if you want to really capture everything that happens out there, you're going to collect a lot of data. And I mean a lot. We've been working with some customers, and when we show them, like, okay, so, and they say, bravely, oh, I want to go and I want to collect everything because you have to, and I want to have it for a year. Then we start talking petabytes, and it's a challenge. It's not a challenge so much to store it, because okay, we are part of EMC, so obviously it's not a problem, but for us, but to provide no, it's not about the amount of data storing it. It's processing it. Because when I talk to some customers about their traditional SIM, so to speak, and they say, oh, we have all the reports, and I said, could you show me one? And say, yeah, I'm going to start it now, and we meet 2 days from now, and I'll show you the report, no problem. I mean, it's not good enough. I mean, security is a real-time thing. I mean, and you can, yes, of course, it's good to have it for investigation purposes and for everything. But with RSA, and I don't want to repeat that story, although we love the story about the RSA breach, because it makes us really stronger. And if you have heard it, it was Bob. You have the chance, some of you, to listen to Bob Griffin, my colleague last year. He was talking here about the breach and everything. But we know that if you don't have tools in place to detect in time, it's nice that you can investigate. It's a great thing, but the damage is done. So it's really security is something that happens, and you have to be able to do things in real time, right? So what needs to be done? So if we look at 4 pillars of what we see as the most important requirements, and we talk about how to approach the problem of the security, is right. It's big data infrastructure, because like it or not, if you want to have a full security, you're going to have a lot of data, and that's we can talk about it whether it's good or bad, but that's the fact, right? You have to have a visibility of everything, because security, you cannot say, oh, I'm gonna not look after that resource, I'm not gonna include that router, I'm not gonna include that server, because you never know where they're gonna come from. The biggest difference, and you've heard that, but I have to repeat it, the largest difference between attacks before and today, a few years ago, 10 years ago, and now, is that nowadays they attack you because of what you do. And they know what they're doing, and they know what you have, and they're, so it's not like a general thing, So if you're not covered, and they're very smart. So if you don't cover everything that you have, every resource, whatever, you can't be sure that you've done a good job. It's like, okay, I'm going to, you have a house with 5 doors, and you say, I can put a lock on 5 doors, the 5th one I'm going to leave open. They're not going to come through that, because it's from the garden, and there is door on the garden, whatever. It's not like that. It's going to happen. So visibility is a thing. High-powered analytics. This is what I'm talking about. Because you can do a lot of automatic things, and we do a lot of that. You get a lot of things. Some obvious things, if they use hacker tools, we detect it. If they use the well-known attacks, we detect it. But most probably they're going to use unknown attacks. So you don't know what's happening. You're not going to, your traditional, call it signature-based or however, solutions are not going to detect it, because they don't know about it. They are not aware of it. Okay, so they're going to detect a lot of it. And then what happens? If you don't have a tool that's going to tell you based on certain algorithms, well, take a look at this. It's suspicious. It's not for sure that it's a problem, but take a look, drill down, go down, check what's happening, and then you kind of conclude that it's not right. I'm going to come with some very obvious examples because, you know, but, you know, if you have poor Chinese, everyone talks about Chinese and, you know, that hack, whatever. But let's say that you have someone trying to get, or you see your system tells you that all of a sudden you have some traffic from China, you know. It could be suspicious or could be not, you know, you never know. You know, I worked for a company that had large companies, they'll have huge offices in China, so why not? But if you are a Hungarian government, like, you know, it's very unlikely that maybe you do have some correspondence, but you're not very likely, unless, of course, and again, it's a good example. I want to go in a different way, but maybe some of your colleagues went there and he's on a trip there. So it's, you know, so this is why you need analytics, to give you a hint of what is happening, and then you have analysts, and this is when I said power to the analysts. They have a tool to decide where to go, what to investigate, where to drill, etc. And on top of it, it's integrated intelligence, which means that this is, again, if you just drop all this information up to analysts, they're going to drown. Then you're going to have more analysts than you have people in the IT. So there has to be some integrated intelligence that's going to correlate and that's going to give you some predefined results saying, yeah, they're using this is DDoS, this is DOS, they're using this hacking tool, they're using that hacking tool. So this is what you also need, because otherwise you're going to just have a interface in front of you with tons of data, and no, it's going to not. You simply won't have enough time to go and do the job. So having said all of this, I'm going to switch now and talk a little bit about the product that actually this whole was introduction to. It's RSA Security Analytics, right? And as I say, when I have to put it in few words, what's security analytics? You know, it's like a tool that helps you monitor your security, investigate incident that you have, and of course, compliance reporting. You know, traditional SIEM mostly are coming from compliance needs, and there is some need from system people to have logs collected and correlated. But actually, if you do not include network monitoring into your security, yeah, well, you're gonna be protected, but not really. You know, and because at the end, it's the only place where you can really capture everything that's happening. It's a network, you know. That's the only place that tells you everything about. Logs are great, logs are good, and logs tell you a lot about systems and all that particular. But if you don't collect network information, if you don't collect packages and analyze that, you're gonna be in trouble. I mean, in trouble meaning, and that you cannot guarantee that you have all the tools you need to identify attacks. So it's like, if you have to put it in simple words, it's actually SIEM and network security monitoring together. I mean, we had a very successful tool. As I said, you're aware of it. It's Envision, and there was also a product called NetWitness. You've heard of it most probably. NetWitness was the tool that actually saved life to RSA, and we combined it. I would not say that it's a combination of two products, because it really is not. It's actually the philosophy of these two products put together, and improved functionality and performance. So we are saying that we are talking about changing the security management status quo. And I'm really happy. I was really happy, as I said. I'm telling you, you've heard of all of these things in the last 2 days, but I'm really happy I'm talking right now, because it gives me the feeling that yes, we are on the right way. We are doing the right thing. I was lucky to be in the ISCD conference this year, a few weeks ago, and the same thing. Everyone is talking. Yeah, we need to improve. We need to go further. It's, you know, so it sounds good. You know, it's a good thing to hear that not only industry is saying this, but also that customers are, because, you know, I can say all the things in the world here and say you need it, you need it. If you don't tell it, if you don't tell me that you need it, then, you know, then what, it doesn't really matter, right? Architecture, I'm not going to go, you know, I was really hoping that I could have one of my technical colleagues here who would be able to tell you very nice things about this and, you know, to answer your questions. But obviously, we're talking about, when we talk about big data, we have something, we call a warehouse. It's where we store data for processing and analyzing. And it's based on, you know, this is my colleague told me, if you tell people it's based on Hadoop, they will understand. I'm just kidding. I also kind of know what it is, and it's based on Hadoop. So if you know what it is, it really does it really fast, and it allows for scaling, which is really, really important, because, you know, if you start small, you know, because everyone wants to start small, and we don't mind, because we say, yeah, start small, but sooner or later they want to expand. So if you want, with this approach with Hadoop, it's really easy. So that's very, very nice. So we collect data, we put it in a warehouse. You can also store it somewhere else if you want, you know, for historical analysis, but you need to have it online. For online, for a large amount of data, we suggest warehousing. Then we have analytics model, which is the brain of the system, which does all these things, you know, gives you a very nice information. And there are these three small yellow things there. I would just mention, because it's really important when you talk, and it was also mentioned even during the previous presentation, you know, first of all, once you know that something is happening, it's incredibly important to know what to do with it, you know, because if you know, okay, you say, okay, I have an incident. The question is, okay, what do you do with it? Who do you tell? Who do you call? What do you do? Can you plug out the system? Who do you have to inform? I usually ask people in the security departments, okay, do you have the phone number of the person you have to call if you find out that someone actually hacked into your system? Who do you call? Very often they do, but very often they don't. And not only that, but how do you follow up on what happened? Yeah, you can go to your service desk, of course. There is also incident management there, but this is a little bit different than that. This is like security-focused incident management, because then you have to really react fast, and this is meant for security people. So this is one thing that, and this is nice about RSA, I have to say here, because we are a security company. We make security solutions, and we have from end-to-end security solutions. So we have a tool called Archer, that it's part, this incident management is part of Archer, which is also risk management, vulnerability management, business continuity management. So you have a plugin to actually say, okay, if I have an incident, I know what to do with it. I know who to call, who to inform, where to go, who to talk to, etc., etc. Second is what we call asset and data criticality. The reason it's important is because we have seen a lot of presentations, a lot of data here, and it's all either IP numbers or server names. Now, if you're in a security and you say, okay, I have a problem with MS SQL 137 server, right? Okay, do you know what it is? Do you know what it does? Do you know what actually function it has in your organization? So how do you know how important this system is to you? You know, so if usually when you have an attack, it's usually to multiple places. You know, they're smart. They don't attack on one. They attack here and there. You know, and then you start looking at this side, and then they figure out they have another. They are actually attacking at the same time on another place. And this tool helps you understand what to do first. You know, the so-called triage. You know, so I say, okay, I'm going to do this first because this is the critical. This is where I have my most sensitive critical data, etc., etc. And so it does help security analysts and people in security departments actually understand what to do first, if you can, to prioritize what they have to do. And then we have endpoint visibility. We do have, maybe you've heard, there is a product called ECAT. And what it does, it's actually very nice. It's a signatureless product that we suggest companies to start tactical with it. So, okay, you use security analytics, you collect all the data, network, logs, whatever. You figure out there is a problem with your system, with one of your systems, and then you say, okay, let me go there and let me put ECAT. What ECAT does, it does malware analysis of the system, but not based on the signature, because this is what we always preach. Signatures are great and they protect you a lot. And don't never ever quit your antivirus, anti-malware, firewalls, whatever you have. But very often you'll have to deal with things that are not yet known. And if you don't compare what the usual, what's normal to what's happening right now, so ECAT would compare the process in the memory with the file on the system on the hard disk, and tell you, well, this is not the same one. What you have what's running in your memory is not what should be, etc., etc. So it gives you a tool to actually kind of investigate a single one of your systems for malware. So this is very nice, as I said, because we have various products. We have the latest addition is, I don't know if you've heard so, but I have to say, it's RSA acquired Avexa, which is identity management tool. So we're going to add some of its capacity to our products. But I'm only mentioning it because we do really a lot of insecurity. So I know how it is. I worked for various vendors, and we always, actually for one before this, and you say, yeah, we are integrated with everything, whatever. Well, yeah, it's the case. But if I would go for a safe bet, I would go with the same vendor, because then you have the real argument. If it doesn't work, you have a real argument to fight for, right? So just again a little bit, why is it different? What is it? What is the Don't forget, again, I have to say, yeah, I've argued with people about big data, and it's a challenge, because working for EMC, people say, yeah, you invented big data, so you can sell more storage. I don't sell storage, so it's not actually, doesn't mean anything, but it is really a big data. We have some projects, and we know it is, so we are kind of warning people, be aware that it's a big data. You don't see it as a big data, you don't think it's a big data. And just an example, I mean, it has nothing to do with security, but you've heard all these things about how many data is collected daily, how many data we produce daily, whatever. So the EMC works with Boeing on actually, Boeing is measuring the performance of their engine, of jet engines, on a Washington-Paris flight, and they're using EMC tools, and they collect about one engine on one flight, 650 terabytes of data. So it's amazing. So think about, and it's one engine. And think about if you have a system of, I don't know, few hundred systems, 1,000 systems, routers, switches, endpoints, whatever, and if you capture everything what's happening, it's gonna, I'm telling you, can argue whether it's big data or not, but it's going to be big data. So if you start thinking security, start thinking big data, because it's there. It's not, you cannot avoid it. It's inevitable. Visibility, again, don't. I always ask people, security department, we work on projects, and we kind of, my colleagues, and I'm kind of, because I come from the IT. I'm now in sales, but I've worked in the IT for many years, and then they do a project, and they say, okay, but we cannot do it right now, we don't have resources, whatever, we are not going to forget this part of the network or whatever. I say, okay, ask them, who's going to make the decision? Are you going to make a decision to exclude this, and are you going to sign sign it, that you say that if something happens on this part of the system, I'm responsible? No, they don't. So visibility is really important. So you have to think about overall infrastructure you have, not only certain parts of it, because what happens is, they attack where they're vulnerable, where you're not protected, and Again, analytics, that's a very important thing to think of. So don't forget that it's, again, it's you need to use this and because if it's not, you know, I think that I always argue she's gonna hick a lot. I mentioned my wife again, you know, I think that Star Trek and similar movies, however much I like it, they've done a lot of damage to IT. Because people think it's easy, you know. People think you press a button and it happens, you know, and whatever. So you know, and they think that you just ask computer and it gives you the answer. It's not like that. We still need to do a lot of things. Look at what we have, information we have. We drill down and we find what's happening. And this is the next thing. This slide actually. RSA Security Analytics uses what we call metadata. We are all familiar in the IT with metadata, which means whatever is collected is described. So it's given, you know, there's hundreds of attributes that are described, IP addresses, sources, destinations, you name it, it's there. And RSA Security Analytics actually works on metadata, not on raw data, which means that it's really fast. Because, you know, you don't have to search through raw data and find the IP address. You say, okay, show me source IP address, and since it's metadata, it only goes through source IP addresses, fields, and finds it. When my technical colleagues, when they do a presentation, it's really kind of it's really nice to watch when they have systems with a lot of terabytes of data stored, a lot of events there, a lot of traffic, whatever, and they go click, 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 bam, and we compare it actually to, you know, you have a hay and you're finding a needle in a hay. It's a, you know, whatever, we say don't look for a needle in a hay, remove the hay and find the needle. So this is actually what we are doing. So it's in this, again, in this amount of information, what's incredibly important is to be able to quickly come to what's really important. Because if you lose time on looking around, whatever, and as I said, this thing, okay, I'll run the report and come back in 2 days and I'll show it to you. It doesn't work, and it's, you know, it works for compliance, that's for sure, and no problem there, but it doesn't work in security. One I'm going to mention here, it's when I talked about integrated intelligence, I just first want to mention, I don't know if you have heard about EMC CERC. We do have actually one very good thing about RSA is that we are now part of EMC. Why? Because we run actually the EMC CERC, and EMC is 65,000 people across 100 countries, and, you know, number of offices. Actually, I didn't even ask. So it's a serious size organization. It's not like it's not small. It's a big organization. And we run security for MC. Why this is important? Because all of these products, we run them, we use them. And our people in our CERC are actually one of the most valuable feedback providers that we have. They tell us a lot about how products should be, what they should work. Actually, it's them who very often suggest, okay, I mean, you know, it's industry as such, you know, we acquire companies, we buy companies, whatever. Few times it was these guys who actually, it was these guys who actually suggested, because they were testing it, they were looking for a tool. And they said, like, you need to, yeah, this is a good tool, you have to buy it. We are not spending like 30% of the time we used to spend on chasing malware. So, you know, and then our management listened to them. So we don't need a lab, we have a live lab, so to speak. So it's very important. And this is where also integrated intelligence comes into picture, because not only from EMC CERC, but from other, we have fraud action, we are fighting fraud, we have anti-fraud, whatever, teams in Israel and states fighting whatever. And also we have a number of customers, there are some open sources, etc. So we feed all that information into our product. So when you start running on RSA security analytics, very quickly after it, you have, because it's mostly free of charge, there is one part that's not, but customers usually go for this part. We feed a lot of information in there. So at the very beginning, you already have a lot of things there that you can look for, that system is looking for. You know, all the hacking tools, I'm mentioning them again, DDoS, all variants of malware, whatever, it's in there. So if there is any traffic or any logs or anything in your systems that's actually looking like one of those, you're alerted immediately, which makes your life much, much, much easier. So at the end, business outcomes. You know, when you say business, it's not necessarily the business. You know, it's amazing when you. I would suggest it's publicly available. Take a look at Verizon report for about state of the security, and you'll be surprised to see, you know, that government is, I think, attacked more than financial institutions. Of course, financial institutions are attacked because they have an immediate loss, because they have money, you know. But governments are attacked for different. Small companies are attacked for their intellectual property and everything. So, and they say that the only way you can successfully protect what you have is if you know what you're protecting. So it's not like you're protecting, you know, you have to know what is it that people, you know, hackers, actually would like to use the word criminal, because that's what they do. You know, hacking has this noble kind of going back to days when, you know, they find out a vulnerability and they tell you it's not like that anymore. They find the vulnerability and they go in there. So technically, you know, you have to have a tool to look after your infrastructure, to be able to react quickly, and of course there is compliance. Even, I mean, local, you know, pushed by government, by sector, by, you know, they like, and again, to end with, and you know, this is the most master of obvious slide. You know, you have seen this 5 times, this and this today 6 times. So, you know, as I said, I'm happy for that, because we were, when you talk about it and people say, you know, it's amazing, you know, you talk about it and people say, ah, no, you know, it's not, yeah, no, it's not like that, it's not the case, whatever. And then 2 years later, you're in a conference when no one is talking about anything else but this. So be aware that traditional security is not working. You have to have it. You know, because people sometimes ask me, oh, so you, no, I'm not suggesting. You have to have it. Keep it there, keep it up to date. It's gonna, because otherwise it will be, as I said, tenfold worse than this is. It's a big data. We like it or not, because we have a large system, we collect a lot of data, so it has to be big data, right? We very much believe that, and it is, security analytics is the tool that is like, we are I can bravely say first in the market to actually offer this full functionality, where we include logs and packages and all these correlated things. And you know, we are happy to talk to you about this. I mean, we have you know, we always say, you know, we're not, the best thing is like, we are happy to do POCs. We are happy because we know it works and we are using it. We went through an incident, we know what it is, so we are talking from we are using this product, we know it. So, you know, that would be pretty much it. Thank you for your attention. And of course, if there are any questions, I'm here. I cannot answer a lot of technical questions, but you know, we can talk about the product and our experiences. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nagyon szépen köszönjük.